What's up, LEGO builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios for another week of building Cato Neimoidia in LEGO. This week I'm going to be hopping around again like I was last week, but working on different things. Most importantly, I'm going to be taking out that support that I had running underneath the city, getting rid of that. I didn't like the design. There are a couple of weak points I'm going to be talking about this week, and making something much better and stronger that's going to go underneath there. I also want to get working on that rear plateau. I said I was going to be doing some kind of like anti-aircraft cannon or gun, and I really don't know what it's going to look like. So I want to start designing that and really get that plateau underway. If you're excited to see this week's update and see that anti-aircraft cannon come together, don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button. And of course, if you're down there and you haven't already, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on future updates as well as the finale for this mock. And one more thing, I just finished my second Battle of Geonosis mock. If you're not familiar with that, I have had a mock series going every Thursday where I've been building the second Battle of Geonosis in LEGO. So if you like Geonosis mocks, I would recommend checking it out. I think you'll like it. All that being said, it's time to get started. Welcome back to another week of building Cato Neimoidia in LEGO. So I'm going to start out by showing you guys what I've been working on. So I had some great suggestions on what to put on this last plateau, or on this back plateau. And I liked the idea of some kind of cannon or gun or anti-aircraft gun. So I've got this bad boy built. I'm pretty happy with it. I was less happy with it last night, but I've let it sit, had some time to think about it. And it's definitely not done, but I'd say like what I have so far, I'm going to be keeping, just adding on to what I have. I wanted this to be some kind of manned anti-aircraft cannon. So you see I've got like the smaller barrels and more of them, because typically on anti-aircraft cannons you want as many bullets or shots in the air as possible, so typically there will be multiple barrels on your cannon. So I've got 4 barrels on here. You can see they run along the entire length, and you've got the rear back here, and then these are going to be manned by a little gunner right here in the center. And you can see I can actually unfold the gun. I can actually unfold the cannons from the side and basically pull them out of there. That was one thing I liked, was I was able to kind of create this little pod looking design and also still make it very accessible with a lot of moving parts. So you can see this front part here opens out, and then these side cannons can flip down here on the sides. Then here we've got this little custom seat I build. It's basically just a yellow pad right here. And you can see I've got the backrest right here with a little headrest. So when you put the gunner in like that, he can rest his head back against the seat right there. Then I've got these little pieces just on the back to add some detail and add a little bit of substance to the rear of the cannon, make it look a little bit bigger. So then once you put them in like that, you can flip this up, and then these cannons flip over on either side, and he is ready to take down some gunships. It does swivel 360 degrees, and it's also pretty mobile up and down. You can see it can point all the way down here and all the way up there. It's just a simple little peg hinge system. I put these little round, I can't remember what they're called, basically like little dishes, these 2x2 dishes on either side. These don't have any practical function, but I just stuck them on the edge of the hinge so it would kind of cover it up. Just make it look more realistic, like that there's actually some kind of hinge or turning mechanism right there. And I'm pretty happy with that little detail. Things like this are really important, just like small little details that in and of themselves aren't necessarily big or super noticeable, but they just really help bring the whole mock together. Like I feel like if I just had this on some like brick that moved up and down or some hinge piece like this, it just wouldn't look as good. So when you're trying to build smaller builds, vehicles, cannons, whatever, try and look for as many opportunities as you can to put in small little details like that, just to help make your build look more realistic and more. That being said, there are some things that I don't necessarily like about the cannon. I don't like how narrow it is. I kind of want to give it a wider base down here, so I might be experimenting with putting some more pieces in here just to make it look bigger on the bottom than on the top. It almost looks a little bit top heavy. And then on the inside here, I'm obviously going to be adding some controls for the gunner to work. Let me know what you guys think of this cannon. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. I did also get some anti-aircraft missiles done. These are just going to be sitting around on this platform. This is going to be like a anti-aircraft platform. So we might have like a little missile launcher and some guards and some crates of bullets or something. Just, this will be like their defense. This will be like kind of like a defense plateau. Another thing I really want to focus on this week is going to be up here. I want to get that support pulled out, and I want to rebuild it completely. I have a better, stronger design in mind, and I think I'm going to be doing 2. I had a couple of you guys suggest on last week's episode to do 2 instead of just one. And I think that's a great idea because that'll help take the load off the center and just displace it a little bit better, especially if they're closer to the edges. So thank you guys for that feedback. All that being said, I'm going to get back to work, and when I have more to show you guys, I will check back in. So what I'm going to be working on right now is actually the big support that's going to go underneath the city. There were a couple glaring designs with the first one that I built, and I think the biggest design was just how flimsy it was. I kind of underestimated the weight of Geonosis, of the city, not only in the center, but just like the entire city itself. You know, when I built that bridge and tested some stuff out, it was connected and built differently than the city was, so it was able to support things that the city can't. And so now I'm trying to like readjust and find something that's strong enough to actually hold the city up. And I'm going to be building a double Technic system here. It's gonna look kind of like what I did the first time, but I'm going to create double layered. So basically there's gonna be a Technic beam on either side instead of just the one side. I think this will help keep those Technic pins and rods from popping apart, and it'll just be more connection to the city and just a bigger, thicker, more substantial support that I think will do a better job of bearing the weight of this city. So here's what I managed to get done. I think you guys saw me building this one on the time lapse, and then I built a second one to go along with it. So I feel like these are going to be much stronger than what I had originally. Looking back now, what I had originally was just kind of pathetic, to be honest. But you know, I didn't really know what needed to be done, so it was a necessary kind of mistake or necessary hurdle that I had to figure out. One thing I learned from the previous support that I built is that this city is so heavy and is already so flexible, there's no need to have any kind of a hinge on here. You know, the mere weight is going to create that bow or that curved look. And you can see these are flexible, they'll bend. I put these on top here to make them a little bit more rigid because I don't want them to be too flexible that they don't resist the city at all. So I think if I put some plates on here in different positions to keep the city from cracking and breaking while still allowing it to bend. So that's why I have a combination of these Technic bricks and Technic poles, is to get that kind of flexibility. So I continued to work on this air defense plateau, and I'm pretty much done with the cannon. I put some little controls in here so you can see he can control which direction he goes. And he's got little buttons on top here to fire the left or the right cannon. So that's pretty much done. All I need to figure out is what I'm going to be doing at the base here. And then over here on this side, I got this little anti-aircraft missile launcher set up. So this thing is remote controlled. You can see it's got the antenna right there and the computer guidance system right there. So you can they can program this to, you know, different settings, target different things, do different things. It can rotate 360 degrees and it goes up and down. Got some fairly large anti-aircraft missiles on here. You can see I put a little gear here on the bottom of the missile. The reason I did that is because I was building the missile and I thought, you know, I could go the traditional route and just put some cylinders in the middle here with one of these cones on top. But I'm trying to get into the habit of building with as much detail as I can, no matter what I'm building. And so I wanted to spice up this missile look and try something I hadn't done before, and I like it. I feel like it just gives kind of a unique, almost Star Wars look to the missiles. If you remember the missiles in episode 3 that contain the buzz droids, they have kind of like a ribbed outer side, kind of like this. If I remember correctly, I might be remembering wrong, I don't know. But needless to say, I feel like they look pretty cool, and you can see they are kind of fragile, but that's okay. I do also have a little crate over here and a battery cell. These are used to power the cannon and the missile launcher. I need to figure out some more random accessories that I can put over here on this side. And I also have a haul for you guys. It's been a little bit. So I got my last dark bluish gray base plate I need, so now I can completely cover this section right here. You can see I've got the other one right there. That's nice. I now finally have all the base plates for this, 30 weeks into the mock, but it's all good. I've got some more parts in here. Just gonna dump them out. I did also get some plate, 2x4 plate, which it's the old dark gray and not dark bluish gray, which is kind of annoying because it was in the dark bluish gray section. That's pretty much everything I have to update you guys with, and I will check back in later. I'm going to wrap up this week by working on some plant work. This will just be something fun and something easy to work on as I kind of wind down the progress for the week. I haven't really talked much about like what the actual plants are going to look like. You know, I've kind of just said like where they're going to go and giving you guys kind of a vague idea of what they're going to look like. I would like to have a lot of these smaller, almost bonsai looking trees, just because these always felt very regal, very like high society to me. And I feel like that's kind of the vibe that Cato Neimoidia gives off. You know, this is a very rich place. The people here are wealthy. I'm going to have small trees placed throughout the city as well as a bunch of bushes. You can see a couple different spots here that I was working on. This main median that runs down the entire length of the city is going to be where most of the plants are going to be, and then there are a couple of patches in other areas of the city that will have, you know, maybe a couple trees and some plants. One thing that I'm really excited to see is how the greenery looks on this dark bluish gray, light bluish gray ground. Even though there is a lot of pearl gold, you know, the main structure of the city is dark bluish gray, so I think it'll add a nice color pop to have these strips of green running through the middle and then these pops of green in other sections of the city. Don't forget to let me know what you think about these trees and plants, and if you think they will make the city look better or worse down below in the comments. All that being said, that wraps up this week and it's time to hit the outro. Well, I would say this week was a big success. I didn't get those supports put underneath the city yet. I kind of wanted to, it didn't really go with the flow of the episode. It was kind of nearing the end when I, finished them, and I still had some other things I needed to show you guys. So I decided it would be better if I just waited until next week and started out the next episode by putting those in and seeing how that looks and how that works out. So next week should be a big deal because possibly I might be able to get the city to a point where it can support itself, which would be really cool. All that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to let me know down below in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time, but until then, happy building.